Welcome back. It's often said that elections have consequences. Rarely, though, has an election in one country had more profound consequences for another than the change from Donald Trump to Joe Biden has had on Israel. Before President Trump left office, the Jewish state had benefited greatly from his commitment to its sovereignty, security, and right to defend itself against Iran and allied terrorists. And Mr. Trump denied the Palestinians a veto over improved relations between Israelis and Arabs willing to make peace. Team Biden, by contrast, has repeatedly undermined Israel and those who share its determination to counter the threat they all face from an incipient nuclear armed Iran. He has, moreover, Joe Biden, emboldened the mullahs with promises of perhaps another $150 billion. And he's renewed the Palestinians' conviction that they can wage jihad against the Jews with impunity. This won't end well. To discuss all of that and more, I'm delighted to welcome back a friend and valued colleague of many years, Shoshana Bryen. She is these days the senior director of a very highly regarded Jewish policy center. Shoshana, welcome back to Securing America. It's so good to have you with us.
Thank you, Frank. It's good to be here.
So let's talk first about this Iran deal, Shoshana. What is going on from what we have been able to discern through mostly leaks of various kinds is actually disastrous as far as I can tell. Disastrous not just for Israel, not just for our other friends in the region, our interests there, but I think probably disastrous for us as well. Give us your sense of it.
It is, and you said it, Frank. The change between Donald Trump and Joe Biden was a change in evaluating the circumstances of the region. Joe Biden's single goal, only goal, primary goal, I don't know how to say it, is a nuclear deal with Iran. And in order to get to an Iranian signature on a piece of paper, he is willing to pay, which is the nature of negotiations. But he is willing to pay in all kinds of currency that increases the conventional risk at the same time. He's looking only at the potential for nuclear war, but there is a lot of warfare that comes before nukes. And he's financing that, and he's helping that, and he's encouraging that.
Well, before we get to all of that, could I just ask you, would this even make a material difference in the putative area of responsibility for this new so-called joint comprehensive plan of action? Will it actually prevent Iran from getting the bomb?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, no. It doesn't prevent anything. You have to say, okay, let's start where we start. The first deal, people like to say that President Trump withdrew us from the Iran deal and then the Iranians cheated. This is not true. The Iranians cheated long before the first deal with their signature on the deal after the deal, and they're going to cheat on the next deal. And we know it. If you don't believe President Trump or me, check with the IAEA, which will tell you Iran cheats.
That's the
And they will
International
continue.
Atomic Energy Agency.
International Atomic Energy
And they've
Agency.
not been exactly assiduous, shall we say, in finding all the aspects of the cheating. But if even they say the Iranians have been cheating, it's a pretty clear indicator that that's happening.
Even
So
they.
this brings us
And
to
they've picked on very important things that Iran cheats on.
yeah, well, and there are very important things, and then there are a lot of perhaps less important things. But altogether, what it amounts to is an abiding pursuit of the nuclear weapons program. But let's turn to your point, Shoshana. What are the things that they're doing in the well, conventional, if you will, non-nuclear arena that should also be of great concern and certainly not be aided and abetted and underwritten by us, for heaven's sakes?
Start where Joe Biden started. The first thing he did was remove the terrorist designation from the Houthi terrorist group in Yemen. They acknowledged that the Houthis do terrorist things, but they took them off the list because the Houthis are Iran's proxy. Who do they fight against? Iran's enemies. Saudi Arabia, our friend. The UAE, our friend. Bahrain, our friend. Oman, our friend. So you now have Iranians over here, Houthis with missiles over there, and they fire those missiles into countries that are putatively our friend.
And then he actually
Second,
removed the defenses against those missiles from at least
they
Saudi Arabia, did he not?
They removed the defenses. They said the Saudis and others had enough Patriot missiles of their own that they could defend themselves. But then they froze the missiles that go into the missile systems that the Saudis and
In
all
other
were
words, the
supposed to use.
resupply of these
The resupply,
Patriots for the Saudis
the
as well.
resupply. They have now announced a resupply. It's not there yet.
Is there any way that the Saudis could regard these actions as other than quite hostile to
Would you?
the kingdom?
No, no. There is no way to regard this except as a gift to Iran on the way to an Iranian signature. That was the first thing. Second was money, South Korean money. People missed that he did that. It was $1 billion. And the first thing they did with it, because we asked them to, was pay Iran's dues at the UN to return them to a member in good standing of the United Nations. The second thing was Iran got a seat on the UN Council on the status of women, which, steam comes out your ears.
It does.
That's what the South Koreans pay for.
It's like the Human
now
Rights
the South
Council.
Koreans are putting money.
Yeah.
Now the
Which they
South
also
Koreans
been
are
on.
putting money
Yeah.
directly into Iran.
Into their coffers.
Into their
We're
coffers.
also told that there may be as much as $150 billion more that will flow into those coffers as a result of this deal. Could that possibly be so? And again, what do they think is going to be done with that money other than pursue these nuclear capabilities and terrorism and hegemony in the region? Are they untroubled, the Biden administration, about such prospects?
They have priorities, and their priority is the signature. By the way, your figure of 150 is perfectly reasonable because one of the things that the Biden administration did was take the sanctions off China for its current purchases of Iranian oil. So the Chinese are loading up tankers. The money's already going in. Given the price of oil, a lot of money is going in.
This is
and if
staggering.
you ask the Biden administration,
It's staggering in the sense that, if we were doing this for the first time, stupidly, I think malevolently, it would be bad enough. But this is the second time around, and it's many of the same characters who brought us the first JCPOA, as they call it. Shoshana, we have to take a very quick break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about what this team is doing with our relationship with another critically important ally, namely the Jewish state, Israel. And more with Shoshana Bryen of the Jewish Policy Center right after this.